Are you being mindful? Welcome to the Hopefulist with me, Wendy McClure. This is where we turn those nasty, negative thoughts into positive and work toward a happy, fulfilled life. Now, let's get started. Oh, happy day. Spring has sprung. Does it feel like spring where you are? Yeah, no, not so much around here either, but it's on its way. It's coming. Things are looking up. There is a light at the end of that tunnel. Spring, flowers, wonderful aromas, longer days, sunshine, warmer temperatures. They're all on its way. Oh, I just made myself depressed because they're not here yet. But we are going to focus on what's coming, right? We're going to enjoy today and look forward to what's coming. Quote of the day: believe that you can have what you desire, that it really truly already exists, and then go out and get it. Easy peasy, right? Easy peasy. No, I know that's not as easy as it is, but you know, one of my favorite sayings is everything is easier said than done. That is why we are focusing on living with intention all of this month. Living with intention, and so much a part of that is being mindful, having mindfulness, being present in the moment. I was listening to a podcast the other day when the host met Tony Robbins for the first time. Now, if you aren't familiar with him, he is like the modern day guru of personal development. Now, I really had thought that everybody knew who Tony Robbins was. I mean, he's pretty famous. But I remember speaking to somebody and I brought his name up and they're like, who? Oh, I've never even heard of him. I'm like, oh. I was like astounded. I was like, really? There's like people in this world that don't know Tony Robbins? I know that I have probably a lot more exposure to him because of the work that I do. But like I said, he's a famous author. You know, he's been on Oprah. He's been all over the place. But anyway, he was hawking self-help books before it was cool, and likely had much to do with the fact that they went from self-help to the much more socially acceptable personal development books. Anyway, she was saying that when she was preparing to meet him, what she wanted most was to be present for the moment, to not be so overly excited that she felt outside of herself and the whole thing would just be a blur. She wanted to get over her nerves and just be there to enjoy the moment and the conversation. Now, we hear and talk about mindfulness and being present often, but rarely do we make it a practice. It's hard. I know. We are so easily distracted. Our mind always wandering. More so now than ever, with the bombardment of social media, email, texts, and a bevy of other things fighting for our attention all day long. Our attention span is getting shorter and shorter, and it's a direct result of the world we currently live in, with smartphones, FaceTime, Zoom meetings, you name it. We don't even have to wait to get into the office anymore. We are working from home. And we are working from home even if it's off hours. We are all over the place. And structure is harder and harder to find. How do we get and stay more present in our lives? Living with intention. That is one way to do it. We need to intentionally take the time to savor the moments of our lives, and not just the big ones, the small ones too. Sitting outside on the porch with a cup of coffee and listening to that morning dove doing his little cuckoo. Do I sound like a morning dove? I doubt it. just enjoy the cup of coffee from start to finish, noticing the smell of it and the warmth of the mug as you hold it, the taste and texture as you take those sips, the feel of hot liquid going down, and most importantly, how much you enjoy the whole process. I remember when my husband and I got married, people had all kinds of advice about how to make the most of our day. Now, someone mentioned to me after the wedding that he made sure at one point to stand back and watch everyone else having a good time and enjoying themselves and just taking it all in. I didn't do that, but I really wish I had. Now, how awesome it would have been to have those few minutes with my new husband standing back and just watching the fruits of all of our labor, trying to make sure we put on one hell of a party. And it was a great party. Now, a lot of the day was a blur, like most people say, but I did try to be mindful at parts throughout the day. Specifically, I remember when I was saying my vows. A lot of people get really nervous and I think try to, skate through that part. But to me, I was trying to make sure that was the most meaningful part of the day. And I just remember looking straight into his eyes and repeating the vows because I wanted to remember that moment. And I still do. So that was one thing I do remember. And I do remember specifically trying to be present in certain moments. I know it was a fun time for most people, including myself. People talked about it for long afterwards. That's really what I wanted. I wanted everybody to have a great time. And really, there's nothing I like more than being the belle of the ball. I'm just going to say it. We all know it. There's no use in denying it. So how often do you sit back and take in your life? Just any given moment. Maybe when you're drinking that first cup of the coffee of the day, or while you're driving to work. Maybe you can take a walk after dinner and take in all the nature around you and just appreciate it. Like I said, spring is sprung. Let's get out there. If you don't have to wear a coat, whatever. Let's go for a walk. Let's take in the sights and the sounds and the smells. When was the last time you looked around your house, noticing how everything is laid out and all the decorations and the color of the paint you likely painstakingly picked out? It's so easy to take the things in your life for granted, especially when you have a lot. In fact, I just recently had to get work done on my car. There was an issue with my brakes. It took me a week just to get an appointment for service. I spent that week driving my husband's car and getting rides to places I needed to be. Now, my car is fixed now and back at my disposal, and it is the greatest feeling to have my car back with the seat and mirrors exactly as I left them because, we were having that seat and mirror war. It wasn't a war because we both need different seat lengths and mirrors and all that stuff. I would get in, move the seat up, adjust all the mirrors, and he would get in later in the day, move the seat back, adjust all the mirrors. Yeah, so it's great to get in my car and have everything exactly where it should be. All my stuff is where I left it and ready and waiting for me whenever I need it. Yay! Something I always took for granted, but now have a new appreciation for. I'm sure it won't last long, though, unless I intentionally live in a way that being mindful of these things become part of my life. This is why gratitude and a gratitude practice is so important. When you are writing things down every day that you appreciate, it gives you more time to feel grateful for them, something most of us don't do. How many people do you know are feeling grateful for a car? How many people walk out to their car and say, "Thank goodness, I'm so grateful that this car started today"? I'm going to guess and say none of the people you know ever do that. And I wouldn't be doing that either if it hadn't been without it for a week. But that is what helped to remind me to not take my car for granted and to remember to count my blessings more often. Maybe a running car should be going into my gratitude journal a little more often than once a year. Another great way to live more mindful is to take a minute at the beginning and end of each day. I just got an Apple Watch about 6 months ago, and it has an app that asks me first thing in the morning to think about the day ahead. It's a great time to set your main intention for the day. Not only set the intention, but think about how you will feel throughout the day and how achieving that intention will make you feel. It asks again at the end of the day to reflect on the day and think about how the day went. What were my favorite parts of the day? What am I proud of? What made me feel good? What made me feel not so good? Think again about standing back and watching everyone at the wedding reception. View your day like this. What is standing out? What is standing out? And of course, I couldn't finish this conversation without mentioning the number one thing that helps with mindfulness and staying present. Yes, I'm going to say it, so get ready. You know it's coming. Meditation. I personally have never been a fan of meditation. I did give it a try. I gave it a good old 6 months at one time in my life and still felt like it was more of a nuisance without getting much in return. So I gave it up. But I'm now giving it another go. And I'm doing it differently this time around. Instead of just focusing on my breath, I'm focusing on certain words. I started at 3 minutes in the morning after making my coffee. I sit down on the couch. I cross my legs. I'm always sitting on the couch with my legs crossed. Crisscross applesauce. So I get comfortable there, but not too comfortable that, you want to fall asleep. Started with 3 minutes. I'm now up to 5 minutes. And yes, it is difficult. It is very difficult. But I do like it so much better this time around. I'm really enjoying the words that I'm using to guide my meditation. What I'm doing is breathing in deeply while thinking of a word I want to bring into my life. Then I breathe out of my mouth and exhale a word I want to put out into the world. My words are wealth and service. I want to bring more wealth into my life by offering more service to the world. You get it? So what are some words that would work for you? If you can carve out just a little time, I highly recommend it. Like I said, it's still very new for me. And my mind wanders constantly. But when it does, I remind myself to bring it back to the breathing and these two words, wealth and service. Give it a go. You have nothing to lose and everything to gain, except loving life a little bit more and realizing how much you already have going for you. I'm actually doing a series right now on building a morning routine. It's on my Instagram account. I go live a couple of times a week and am currently in week 5 or 6. If you'd like to see that series, head over to IG and look me up at _Hopefulist. I hope to see you over there. And if you like this episode, please leave me a review and hit that subscribe button, that follow button, whatever it may be, if you haven't already. It is really important to podcasters to have subscribers in order to keep doing what they do. So please do this for me. Plus, you will be the first to know when there is a brand new episode available. Please, please tell your friends. We want more hopefulists in the world. We want to help everyone live their lives better. Now, go on out there and have yourself a badass week. I'm here cheering you on. Thank you for listening to The Hopefulist. Now, don't you feel good? Make sure you come back next week. See you then.